These are 3 dice. There's a blue one. No, I believe it's turquoise, but on the camera it's viewed as blue, as far as I can see. But okay, let's just pretend this is a blue one. Well, it's turquoise, but okay. For the example, for the illustration, we say it's a blue one. There's a red one. In fact, and also illustration, we will deal with it as a red dice. And this is the what I would call the deviation dice. It's black and white. It has black dots instead of white dots. So there's a contrast over here. And let's keep this one apart for a moment. And here you have a red-blue duality, or what I would call the yin-yang principle. So you have 2 dice. All have 6 sides because they're both cubes. So let's throw them. From the red one we have a 5, and from the blue one we have a 3. Okay, what just happened? There was friction among the dice, among the 2 cubes, because this is a cube. When the conflict was over, in this time you have, at both sides you have the 1 value that's dominant. Because only one side can be dominant at the cost of the opposite, and the other sides are under the influence of the one at the top. That's obvious with a cube. Now let's say that this red one is the working class and this is the ruling class. For example, the kings, emperors, the chieftains, the military elite. These are the elite people in a community, and these are the this represents the common people. Amongst the common people you have, well, either the people that do low-paying jobs that nobody wants to do, or they're homeless. And you have the small business owners. They're not part of the elite, but they have their own businesses, or they have large plots of land. So they are on economic terms, they are the leaders within the working class. They are the 6. And then, for example, this may be the fishermen, who are a 4. These may be the business people and the academics. So of the working class, you have different groups. They're all part of the same cube. They all have the same mindset, but that mindset has different, it has different phases. The 6 phase has another mentality than the 3 phase, but they're all part of the dice. That's the box of how they think. That's how society conditioned them to think, and that's the identity that society had placed upon them. And with each camp comes identities and expectations and limitations. The same you have with the elites. For example, this is the priest class. Those are the men that rule, that make decisions behind the scenes. These are the royal houses and the noble houses. This may be the bankers, the top bankers. The 2 are the politicians, 1 are the celebrities. So okay, this is the elite, and this is the working class. The working class has conflict among one another, because they have conflict concerning which camp of the working class becomes dominant within the working class. The same you have amongst the elite. Even though the elite is more or less united than the working class, they still have friction. So you have 2 classes of people, and both are in conflict with one another. There's resentment from this side, the working class, versus the elites, because elites don't have the necessity to do physical work in order to get compensation. And there's resentment from the elite towards working class, because they need to have a working class for them to be an elite. And they're the ones that decide how much the currency or the money is worth. They regulate the economy, and they need to keep these people in this box in order for them to be in this blue box. So there not only is there rivalry, jealousy, envy within each class, both the ruling class as the working class. There's also rivalry between the two. So again, this friction over and over again. That's why you have elections. People choose their prime minister, or they choose their president, or maybe there's a revolution going on, or maybe there's some scandal coming out. Those are frictions. Over and over again. But there comes a point that the tensions are so high that it basically destroys the whole community. What happens then? Then you have this cube coming along. This has the same blueprint, the same structure as these dice, because they're all dices. But look carefully. White is a spectrum that contains all colors. White is not a color itself, but it's a spectrum. Black is not a spectrum. Black is just an absence of light and an absence of quality. So the people that are boxed within this cube, they are the scapegoats of the society. Those are the misfits. Those are the targeted individuals or targeted groups. Those are the losers, the creeps, the freaks. Those are the so-called parasites. And people that are put in this box, it can be anyone. Those are people from both groups that are boxed within this box. This is the box nobody wants to be placed in. This is the box everyone wants to avoid. Everyone wants to either be included in the working class. Most people try to find a place within the working class, or they want to join the ruling class. Seldom will you find someone from the ruling class wanting to go to the working class, but often you have people from the working class want to join the ruling class, or they make their own ruling class. Anyway, this is the dice nobody wants to be associated with. So when things are very messed up over here, this dice is put within it's been dragged within the game. Normally when there are conflicts and within society, year in, year out, these are not even considered. But when things are too messy, they are included within the duality. Here you understand a duality needs to have opposites. And opposites can only be binary. You can't have 3 dices in order to work out a duality. It doesn't work. But here's the thing. These 2 boxes, these 2 cubes, are social constructions. They don't factually exist. They only exist because socially people are acting them out. That's what society is. But people are holding on to this duality because it regulates and hinders violence at the expense of those that are put into this cube over here, because this is the cube that both the working class as the ruling class are using to scare people into remaining within these 2 boxes, within this duality. When this duality is in crisis, now they include the outcast, the creeps, the freaks, they let them all in to let them join the friction. Now, what happens now? These are 2 colors. These are opposites that are drawn to one another. Because if in a duality, you need to have opposites. But when these 2 are drawn to one another during the conflict, this one is left out. So what happens now, people of the working class are going to blame them. Or now their violence, all the pressure, all the hurt and resentment of the working class community is falling on the outcasts. And also the ruling class will join, but at top of the working class. And after a while they are cast away, and again the duality is restored. Sometimes you have the outcasts fighting amongst each other, and the dominant ones of the outcasts return to cause damage to the elite structure in hope to change society. But what they often happen is that they often find out that the working class don't want anything to do with it. So now you have a whole fight again. And again, these two join together at the expense of these. Or maybe for a while they end up at the top. That's during anarchy or during violent revolutions. But after a while, many people from this group will try to get accepted again within the duality. And then again, it goes wrong. And the duality is restored. That's the dynamic throughout human history. That's how human communities most of the time operate. Without this dice over here, these two are worthless. Because without having the black sheep, you can't have white sheep. Because both the ruling class has sheep and exists out of sheep as the working class. And conspiracy theorists, they pretend as if only the working class are sheep. They're both sheep. Because what contains both the ruling class and the working class together in this duality is fear. Fear of becoming this. This is what they don't want to get involved into. This is what they don't want to be associated with. So when this becomes dominant for a while, people are freaking out. And they may join. Enemy camps may join to fight this alien threat in order for the duality that they are attached to restore itself. Well, I hope it has been clear now what the dynamic of violence is within human communities. And this is why most of the crap, like terrorism, is continuing. Things as racism, I say terrorism, or ageism, discrimination, or human trafficking, all those fruits are the result of duality, of dualistic thinking. And understand this, when you are a part of the world, you're either in the box of the ruling class or of the working class. If you don't fit into one of these boxes, you're associated with this box. And to be associated with this box means that you're not certain of your life. Your life's in danger, and of your relatives. So people will begin to avoid you in order to be associated with you because you're labeled as this. But you know what? When you are delivered from fear, when the spirit of fear has been when you are free from the grips of the spirit of fear, because fear is a spirit, when you are free from it, then none of this matter, because you will see they're all dices, they're all cubes, and you see through all of it, and that's why you have become delivered. So you're not attached to the working class nor to the ruling class. Neither are you doomed into this rejection class. You are free from the game. You will still have to deal with these three categories. You will still have to deal with the duality on a daily basis. Why? Because you have a job, you have an income, you have a family, you have friends. You need to go to a supermarket or somewhere to buy your food. So you have no choice but to deal with the duality. But you're not ruled, governed, nor defined by the duality. Why? Because you're not afraid anymore of this. That being said, be at peace, remain in prayer. Shalom.